Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a drink, it is time for some PathOfExile discussion. Today, we're in PathOfExile 2 spoiler season, sort of, but today's news relates to PathOfExile 1 instead. Specifically, the release timeline for patch 3.26, and for the end of the Settlers of Kalgur expansion, what's going to be happening there, and also an event that's being announced today. This event is probably a little bit less exciting than some of the ideas that I had. It is pretty much the basics, but it will be something that will be an interesting event. More on that later. Let's start out though with the 3.26 timeline. So I've been speculating for a while, even before Grinding Gear Games pushed the release date for PathOfExile 2's early access from the 15th of November this year to the 6th of December this year, I was speculating we would not see 3.26 this year. The reason for that was just thinking about the commercial realities of it. Grinding Gear Games are putting out their biggest release ever in PathOfExile 2's early access. They do not want to have 4 weeks later a minor release, a routine release for them that comes along and steals the thunder of it. So I couldn't see any timeline where PathOfExile 1's 3.26 patch was going to come out on the 13th of December, and I couldn't see them releasing it on the 20th of December or the 27th of December because of the Christmas break. So I was always expecting the PathOfExile 3.26 would be in next year. However, one of the things with speculation is that when you're more pessimistic than other people, people don't like it very much. And a lot of people were saying, yep, no, you're clearly wrong, they're never going to do that. Well, today, unfortunately, Grinding Gear Games have clarified that my speculation was right. So Grinding Gear Games today confirmed 3.26 is coming next year, but not only is it coming next year, but it's late enough in next year, late January is the date they're going for at the moment, that even the 3-week slippage is not likely to have been the factor that pushed it into next year. I don't think they were ever planning on having 3.26 this year. I think they were planning on having it in week 1 or week 2 of January, but now it's going to be week 4 or week 5 of January instead. Important to note that they have not locked in a specific date as yet. They are aspiring towards having it in late January, but this is in no way a firm promise. 3.26 could get delayed into February, and potentially, depending on the ways PathOfExile 2's early access goes, maybe it'll get brought forward to the middle of January. We don't know, we just know that it's not going to be this year. Anyways, this means that the Settlers League is getting extended into 2025. There's one thing that Grinding Gear Games know is that once players have got everything they want in a league, and I'm not saying that everyone that's playing the Settlers League has everything they want in it, but a lot of people do, those people tend to stop playing. That's part of the reason that Standard League is less popular than the Temporary Leagues. In the Temporary Leagues, it's more realistic to get your next upgrade. In Standard, it's less. Well, a lot of people hit that point in Settlers where the next upgrade feels out of reach and they're just waiting for something new to do. For that reason, they're doing a fresh start event. It's a fresh start event with a twist, but I find it's not the most interesting twist, but it's one that will do something a little bit different to the base game. So the Settlers of Kalgur event is starting very soon. It's starting on the 7th of November. If you're in the United States and similar time zones, 8th of November, if like me, you're an Australian. This is going to be a fresh version of the Settlers of Kalgur League, but it's also going to have a new twist, and that is that the loot increase and pack size increase aspects of the Necropolis, the devoted modifiers, these are going to be back. However, the haunted modifiers, which are the ones that made monsters harder, they're not coming back, neither is the grave crafting. It is just going to be those modifiers that increase loot or increase pack size, and most of these are unambiguously positive. Some of them are mostly positive, but might occasionally be a little bit annoying. For example, I think the one that spawns a Harbinger, I think that that's considered to be a devoted modifier, and so that's not always positive, but generally speaking it is. Now, when this was initially announced, there were only going to be 2 versions of this. There was going to be softcore trade enabled, and there was going to be hardcore solo self-found. Since then, Grinding Gear Games have changed the announcement and added in a hardcore trade enabled and a softcore solo self-found version. So there'll be the 4 different rule sets that'll be available. It doesn't look like there's any support for Ruthless in it, and I don't think there's a huge amount of clamoring for that in the player base, so that's not likely to change. It looks like there's going to just be the 4 different versions that are running. Now, I'm thinking of doing something a little bit different for this as well. This is something that I have not yet fully formulated my plans for, but I'm thinking of organizing what you might term a guild self-found start to this event. What that would mean is that we'd be playing in the Softcore Trade League version of the event, but we'd be playing as a cooperative group, using a guild storage and the like to trade resources amongst each other, and trying to gear each other up, get each other past milestone encounters, and then acquire a bunch of wealth, maybe take on a couple of attempts at mirror crafts amongst the group, And then at the end of a certain period of time, probably 10 days, so probably the end of the second weekend, what we'll do is we'll go our separate ways and split up the loot at that point. However, there's going to be a lot of things to work out in order to make that happen, because we've got to try and make it as fair as possible. So I'm going to be discussing that further with people. If you'd like to express interest in being part of that though, I'll burn a link to my Discord onto screen. Now this will not be a clickable link. You'll need to transcribe it into something. That's just something to prevent the Discord getting overrun by bots. It adds a nuisance to it, but no one goes around programming bots to OCR text inside YouTube videos and then transcribe them into Discords and join them and then start sending crypto spam to everyone that's in that particular Discord. Trying to avoid that happening, so that's the reason for the extra little hassle there. But if you're interested in at least discussing what would be involved in that, then there'll be a link to that on the screen. Anyways, the Necropolis mechanics will be a modest change. I think the primary effect they'll have is for more casual players, they will make it faster to gear up. Because if you're the sort of player that's still looking to get a whole lot of Chaos Orbs and the like while you're progressing your Atlas, this is going to mean you're going to get a lot more of those sorts of resources, those low tier crafting currencies while you're progressing your Atlas. That's then going to mean that you'll be able to just trade a bit more with people early on, potentially jump past some of the progression milestones the more experienced players just are used to dealing with anyway and have a lot of experience with dealing with. So that's my thoughts of the effect of this. It remains to be seen how much of an impact. Now there's a little bit of an FAQ that Grinding Games have put up here as well, and I'll quickly run through this. Firstly, will the event be console or PC exclusive? No, it will not. It'll be available on both versions. You want to play on console, you want to play on PC, both of these are going to work. Can you play your existing character? No, you cannot. You're going to have a fresh start, and not only is it a fresh start for your characters, it's a fresh start for your Atlas, it's a fresh start for your favorite maps, it's a fresh start for King's March, it's a fresh start for all of those key mechanics that you want to get done at the start. Will Necropolis crafting mechanics be available in the event? No, they will not. You will, however, have the Recombinator, so that's worth keeping in mind. How do you join the event? It's pretty straightforward, but it won't be an option until 30 minutes before the event starts. Can you make a private league version of this event? You cannot. What's up with the mystery box prizes? Anyone that gets to level 50 in this event is going to get a mystery box. Now, I always say to people, don't play just for the mystery box. Play the event if you think the event will be fun. If you don't think the event will be fun, don't play the event. Don't play it just because of the mystery box. If you do find the event fun though, it's a tiny little bonus for hitting level 50. What happens if you've already got all the MTX from the Settlers mystery box? You'll instead get 2 Polaris mystery boxes instead. So that is what we're looking at with the event that's going to be starting in a few days' time. If you're either interested in being a part of that group start for the event or in finding out more about it, then the Discord link is back on screen now. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it there. May your Varlobs have interesting results.